I'm Thomas Hargrove, 68 years old, and for 35 years, I've borne the searing scar of a betrayal that shattered my professional dreams and reshaped my existence. It was the autumn of 1990, a crisp afternoon in Sydney, the harbor breeze carrying the briny scent of the Tasman Sea as I faced my former mentor, Gerald Thornton, in his opulent office at Thornton Enterprises. The room, with its floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Circular Quay, its mahogany desk cluttered with awards, and its walls adorned with framed campaigns, had once been a place of inspiration. I was 33 then, a rising star in the advertising world, my creative flair turning obscure brands into market leaders under Gerald's tutelage. I joined his firm straight out of university in 1987, my bold slogans and vivid visuals earning his praise, and a junior partnership by 1989. My campaign for a local coffee brand, featuring a catchy jingle and a striking sunrise motif, had caught the eye of a national chain, promising a multimillion-dollar deal. But that day, as I presented the final pitch, Gerald's demeanor shifted from mentor to predator. "You'll never outsmart me, Thomas. Your career's over," he snarled, his voice a venomous lash that cut through the hum of the air conditioning. He revealed he'd stolen my work, submitting it under his name to the client, and fired me on fabricated charges of unethical conduct and insubordination, backed by doctored emails. The courts, swayed by his industry clout, a network of influential friends, and my lack of documented proof, my notes and sketches mysteriously lost in a filing error during a supposed office move, ruled against me in 1991, leaving me jobless, my reputation smeared across Sydney's ad circles. My wife, Margaret, a compassionate nurse with a dry wit, stood by me, but our savings evaporated under legal fees. Our dreams of a seaside home in Manly postponed indefinitely, replaced by the reality of a cramped Bondi flat. Those words, "Never outsmart me, your career's over," became a relentless echo, a shadow that darkened every silent moment of the decades that followed. I can still see the months after the ruling, sitting on a worn couch in that Bondi flat, the crash of waves against the shore a distant comfort as I flipped through job listings in faded newspapers. The flat, with its peeling paint and creaky floorboards, was a stark contrast to the sleek office I'd lost, its single window framing a sliver of ocean. Margaret took on extra night shifts at the hospital, her exhaustion etched into her face as she graded patient charts by lamplight, while I pieced together a living with freelance gigs, designing flyers for local cafes, teaching basic art at a community center in Paddington. Our son, Daniel, born in 1992 after years of trying, grew up in that modest space, his crayons scattered across the floor, his questions a constant reminder of my fall. "Why don't you work with Uncle Gerald anymore, Dad?" he'd ask, his small voice tugging at my heart. I'd smile, spinning tales of new adventures, but the truth gnawed at me. Gerald had not only stolen my work, but turned my network against me, his version of events painting me as a disgruntled employee. Gerald's empire soared in the years that followed. Thornton Enterprises expanded, securing contracts with multinational brands, his face plastered on billboards along George Street, his wealth flaunted in a harborside penthouse and a yacht docked at Rose Bay. He hosted lavish parties, his laughter echoing through the Sydney social scene, while I rebuilt from the ground up, earning a graphic design diploma by correspondence in 1995, launching a small studio from our garage by 2000. My clientele grew steadily, local bakeries, charities, a boutique winery, who admired my innovative designs, their word of mouth turning my name into a quiet success in Bondi's creative circles. But the wound festered. Gerald's occasional appearances at industry events were a parade of arrogance, his smug updates about multimillion-dollar deals, his wife Vanessa's designer gowns, his daughter Claire's elite schooling, each encounter a dagger. My parents, both retired and living in Newcastle, believed his lies, their calls filled with pity rather than pride. Daniel, now a photographer, struggled with resentment, his teenage years marked by arguments over my failure, while Margaret's quiet support, her cooking, her late-night talks, kept me sane, her love a lifeline in the storm. The turning point came 7 years ago, in 2018, when the first cracks in Gerald's facade appeared. His firm faced lawsuits over plagiarized campaigns, clients like a major soft drink brand defecting to competitors, and whispers of financial strain leaked to the press. At 61, with my eyesight beginning to falter, I began my quiet investigation, leveraging my studio network to reconnect with ex-colleagues. I'd meet them at quiet cafes or parks, my sketchbook a disguise, listening to their stories over flat whites. Last month, on July 12, 2025, I sat with Rachel, a former copywriter who'd left Thornton Enterprises in 2020, at a corner table in a Surrey Hills cafe. Her hands, stained with ink from her new freelance gig, passed me a worn USB drive. "He's desperate. Stolen pitches, falsified records, a legal mess," she murmured, her voice low with urgency. "The soft drink campaign was yours, Thomas." My heart raced. This was the leverage I'd waited for. On August 2nd, 2025, I contacted James, a journalist I'd met at a community art fair, who'd covered advertising scandals with a relentless edge. We met at his cluttered office in Darlinghurst, his desk buried under clippings, as he reviewed the USB, screenshots of my original sketches, emails proving Gerald's theft. "This could sink him," James said, his pen tapping. "But we need ironclad proof and the perfect timing." On August 18th, 2025, I delved deeper, transforming my studio into a detective's lair. Amid design boards and coffee-stained mugs, I accessed public archives online, my fingers stiff but determined. At 2 p.m., I found it, a 1990 contract with Gerald's forged signature, tied to the coffee campaign now under scrutiny for its origins, its success a cornerstone of his empire. My hands trembled as I printed it, the past surging back with every line. That night, at 8:29 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on August 26, 2025, I sat in my office, the Sydney skyline a distant tapestry of lights, plotting my next step. The annual Thornton Gala was on September 9th, a glittering showcase of Gerald's waning dominance. I'd attend, not as a forgotten designer, but as his reckoning. What he didn't know was I'd forged my resilience into a weapon, sharpened by 35 years of patience and perseverance. The 2 weeks leading to the gala were a meticulous orchestration of strategy and subterfuge, my days at the studio a veneer for the vengeance simmering beneath. By August 30th, 2025, my Bondi office, its walls lined with designed boards showcasing past triumphs, its desk a chaos of sketches and coffee-stained mugs, transformed into a command center where every line I'd drawn fueled my resolve. James and I met nightly, his laptop casting a blue glow across the room as we dissected the USB and contract. The 1990 coffee campaign, my brainchild with its sunrise motif and jingle, had been replicated with falsified credits, its success launching Gerald's national reputation. Rachel's data revealed a pattern. Recent plagiarism from a sports brand, doctored invoices for a car manufacturer, a web of deceit that threatened collapse. I contacted Peter, a retired ACCC officer who'd audited ad firms in the 90s, his gravelly voice joining us via a crackling video call. "This could trigger a fraud probe. Hit him when he's preening," he rasped, his eyes gleaming with old battles. I nodded, my mind weaving a plan born of 35 years of suppressed rage, each detail a brushstroke on the canvas of my retribution. The gala, set for 7 p.m. on September 9th, 2025, at a harborside venue overlooking Sydney Harbor, would be Gerald's stage, a gathering of clients, media, industry elites, and family, all dazzled by glass walls and waterfront views. I'd pose as a retired designer, my gray hair thinning but neatly styled, my casual navy jacket and slacks a disguise crafted by years of humility. My role was to deliver the evidence to James, who'd signal Peter's ACCC contacts at 8 p.m., timed with Gerald's keynote address, ensuring maximum humiliation. I secured an invitation through Susan, a former colleague turned gala organizer who'd worked with me on early campaigns, her memory of my talent untainted by Gerald's narrative. She emailed it on August 23rd, a silver card I held like a talisman, her note reading, "Great to see you back, Thomas." She suspected nothing, her kindness a tool I'd wield. Preparation was a grueling ritual, a blend of physical and emotional endurance. I practiced my demeanor daily, walking the Bondi boardwalk to perfect a relaxed stride and a faint, unassuming smile that masked my fury. I rehearsed lines. Just here to catch up with old mates. Though each word carried the weight of Gerald's betrayal, Margaret's unwavering support, and Daniel's quiet disappointment. Physically, I swam in the ocean each morning, my joints protesting with every stroke, but each lap bolstered my will to stand tall that night. I revisited old mementos, rough sketches from 1989, a faded photo of Margaret and me at a campaign launch, a letter from Daniel thanking me for art lessons, a rejected pitch from Gerald scribbled with amateur, each item a thread in the tapestry of my determination. One night, I found cassette of a 1991 meeting where Gerald praised my work before the theft, his voice a bitter contrast, and wept the betrayal of fresh wound. I also tracked Daniel's life, his photography exhibits, his recent engagement, hoping this act would mend our rift. On September 6th, Gerald called, his tone oily, with false warmth. "Thomas, the gala's a landmark. Bring Daniel. Let's show the past is past." Vanessa's eager to meet him. I agreed, my voice steady, hiding the storm within. He didn't suspect I'd coordinated with James, who'd lined up Peter's ACCC contacts, or that I'd commissioned a navy blazer with a hidden pocket, its fabric a shield against his judgment. The blazer arrived on September 7th, tailored by a local seamstress, Maria, who chatted about her son's design school dreams, unaware of my mission. I tested the pocket, sliding the USB inside, its weight a promise of justice. At 6 p.m. on September 9th, I arrived, the harbor lights dancing on the water, a stark contrast to my inner resolve. Guests in tuxedos and gowns mingled, their laughter a hum of privilege. Gerald spotted me near the bar, his smile tight. "Thomas, still sketching in the shadows? Good to see you," he quipped, his eyes searching for weakness. I nodded, my pocket a silent arsenal, my heart steady with the rhythm of 35 years. At 7:45 p.m., he took the stage, launching into a speech about his unrivaled creative legacy and decades of innovation. I scanned the room, Daniel clapping awkwardly, his fiancée beside him, clients nodding, media recording, Vanessa sipping wine with a smug grin. At 7:58 p.m., as Gerald raised a glass to his empire, I edged toward James, my pulse a drumbeat. I slipped him the USB, whispering, "Now." He nodded, texting Peter. At 8:02 p.m., ACCC agents stormed in, badges flashing under the lights, shouting, "Investigation underway." Gerald's glass shattered on the stage, his face draining of color as agents seized his laptops and files, the room erupting into chaos. The gala descended into a maelstrom of pandemonium, guests scattering like leaves in a gale, media cameras swiveling to capture every moment, Gerald's shouts swallowed by the authoritative cadence of ACCC's commands. Daniel stood frozen near the bar, his fiancée's hand on his arm, his eyes wide with shock, while clients whispered furiously, their confidence shattered. I stood tall, my navy blazer a badge of my hard-earned resolve, my posture unbowed, my heart pounding with 35 years of vindication and the bittersweet ache of a family nearly lost. Agents swarmed the stage, their dark uniforms a stark contrast to the venue's elegance, cuffing Gerald as he roared, "This is a witch hunt, Thomas. You'll regret this." They read charges, fraud, plagiarism, false advertising, each word a hammer blow to his empire, the list expanding with details of a $2 million kickback scheme. James approached, his voice steady amid the din. "They've got him dead to rights, Thomas. You've done it." The media frenzy was immediate. Headlines like "Thornton Empire Collapses in Scandal" and "Designer's 35-year revenge" blazed across screens by 9 p.m., my name a whisper of awe in the tumult. Gerald turned to me, his face flushed with rage, sweat beading on his brow, his tailored suit disheveled as agents tightened their grip. "You, after all these years, you resentful old fool? You'll destroy everything," he bellowed, his voice cracking with desperation. I met his gaze, unflinching, my voice clear despite the tremor in my hands. "You said I'd never outsmart you, Gerald, that my career was over. I just proved you wrong, with evidence, with endurance, with the life I clawed back while you built on stolen ground. This is my payback for me, For Daniel, for every idea you pilfered. He lunged, his fist raised in a futile gesture, but agents restrained him, dragging him out as Vanessa sobbed, her wine glass slipping to the floor. Daniel rushed to me, his voice breaking through the noise. "Dad, I had no idea. I'm sorry for doubting you." I hugged him, the first embrace in nearly a decade, his fiancée nodding in support, a bridge to a future we'd rebuild. The room buzzed with reporters, their microphones thrust toward me. But I turned away, my victory a private flame burning bright. The fallout was swift and unrelenting. ACCC froze Thornton Enterprises' assets, offices in the CBD, accounts in offshore banks, ongoing campaigns, halting operations across the board. Gerald's firm's stock crashed, clients like the soft drink brand severed ties, and his reputation, once a beacon in Sydney's ad world, became a cautionary tale. The media uncovered a network of ghost writers and falsified awards, amplifying the scandal. Daniel reconciled fully, moving into my studio to collaborate on photography-integrated designs, while Margaret and I planned a retirement by the coast. Vanessa filed for divorce, her social circle evaporating, and Claire, Gerald's daughter, distanced herself, pursuing a career abroad. I didn't gloat. My goal was justice, not destruction. But the sight of Gerald's empire in ruins brought a profound peace, a quiet satisfaction that filled the void left by his words. At 8:29 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on August 26, 2025, I sat by my window, the harbor view a mirror to my calm, a letter from Gerald in hand. "Thomas, I was wrong. Help me out of this," it pleaded, his handwriting shaky. I didn't reply, the past too raw, my strength too hard-won to waver. Months later, his trial began, prosecutors wielding my evidence, Rachel's testimony, and Peter's ACCC insights, with devastating effect. I attended the first day, my presence a silent testament to my journey, seated beside Daniel and Margaret, and watched Gerald's defense crumble under the weight of truth, former employees stepping forward with stories of coercion. The judge, a stern man with a reputation for fairness, ordered a full audit, hinting at significant penalties. Daniel and I expanded the studio, Hargrove and Son Creations, blending design and photography, while Margaret retired, joining me in sketching seaside motifs. We hired Rachel as a consultant, her copywriting skills a bridge to new clients. I visited an old billboard site once, its surface blank, a monument to Gerald's greed and my redemption. My revenge, 35 years in the making, was not just justice. It was my rebirth, a life reclaimed from the ashes of his betrayal, a testament to the creativity I'd always possessed.